exact same thing, to the address of the account that you're sending the transaction to, or the contract you're calling, value the amount of ether that you're sending. Data is just a field of data. The transaction sender can fill the data field with whatever he wants. It's just an array of bytes, no limits on length. But the more data a transaction includes, there is actually a fee for that in gas. So basically, you lose 68. You have to pay an extra 68 gas for every byte of transaction data that you include. VRS, there are values in an elliptic curve signature. So if you're familiar with cryptography, you've probably seen the R and the S. The V value is basically an extra flag needed to do public key recovery. So basically, instead of checking the signature against the public key, you actually derive the public key from the signature. So there is this concept called of receipts. So receipts are objects that kind of get hashed into the Ethereum blockchain, and every transaction has a corresponding receipt. So these receipts have a few pieces of data. One of them is an intermediate state word, which once again, I'll describe the mechanism later, but it's a kind of hash that represents the entire state after the transaction gets executed. Number two, cumulative gas use, so the total amount of gas used in that particular block, including that transaction. So those first two things are kind of needed to do this sort of step-by-step accounting that actually makes it possible to kind of check the validity of individual transactions very easily. And the third thing is logs. So logs are this special feature in Ethereum that is sort of, it's kind of a different kind of storage. So in general, when you set variables, that gets set in account storage, and that can be read and written by contracts. Logs are basically append-only. So if you have a transaction in one particular block and it creates some logs, those logs get hashed into that particular block, but they're not visible. They cannot be accessed by contracts, and they appear just in that block. They're not in any kind of persistent state. So nodes, if they want to, for example, they can just not store logs, and they can prove them. So logs are also 10 times cheaper in terms of gas consumption than storage. And the purpose of logs is to allow some efficient light client access to event records. So one example of where you want to use a log is, if you go back to the DNS example, you might want to add a single line to create a log in the register method and in, let's say, the setIP method. And the reason why you want to do that is basically in order to allow light clients to very quickly scan through all the logs and sort of see all the instances at which the domain's not registered, IP address got changed, and so forth. So there's lots of applications that wants to be able to sort of have a history of things that happen, and logs are a convenient way of supporting that.